Hello and Happy New Year to everybody. I'm just doing this quick Facebook Live video because I've set this group up really to answer your questions about starting your own creative home business. I get so many questions and I'm quite often answering individual emails, but they're often the same questions. So I thought this would be a really amazing group if I can just answer the questions by video, because then that's going to benefit all of you who may have the same or similar questions. So this question comes from Amy, who has sent me an email saying that the main thing that she wanted to ask me was to talk about the benefits of starting a business on your own as opposed to a franchise. Amy says that she's been offered a franchise in her area, so she's kind of researching whether she should buy a franchise basically or set up on her own independently. She says that it seems more daunting starting on her own, although if she was to make a success of it, she feels that it will be more satisfying. And the main consideration is her time. So one of the things that she would like to know is if a franchise would allow her to get set up quicker, or really how quickly she can get set up on her own. So I'm going to try to answer these questions as effectively as I can. I have actually written an article about this. So after I've done the video, what I'll probably do is embed this video within that article and link it back here so that you can find it. But first of all, I'm going to talk about the benefits and disadvantages of franchising. The benefits of franchising is that you have normally got like a proven business model. So with a franchise, it's a business that's been trading for a certain amount of time. They've got a certain number of franchisees and they're all operating within that particular business model. You've also got established products and services, which, there's obviously history of sales with those products. So hopefully you've got an idea of what the sales turnover of that particular franchise that you're looking to buy is, and it's normally a recognized brand name. So that's normally the biggest benefit of buying a franchise, is that it's a recognized brand name. And as a franchise, they should also be embarking upon national advertising and marketing support that you should be able to benefit from. However, that's not always the case, because I actually know of a lot of franchises where you still have to invest a lot of money into the franchise, but you have to do your own marketing. So if I was investing into a franchise, I'd certainly want to know what kind of national marketing is going on that would benefit you. The disadvantages are they've normally got higher startup costs. Now, I don't know what the cost of this franchise is. Quite often a franchise would be upwards of 10K, 15K, 20K sometimes. And because you've got those higher startup costs, you've normally got a slower return on investment. You've also got to consider that as a franchise, you will have to pay ongoing franchise fees. So that may be sales royalties, franchise fees. Quite often with a franchise as well, you pay your initial franchise fee for X amount of years, might be 5 years, 10 years, whatever. But then you have to pay again for the rights to continue with that franchise after that initial period is up. So you need to think about that as well. Also with a franchise, you have territory restrictions. So you'll be normally restricted by postcode area. So which may be fine for you at the moment, but it may not be fine if you want to move in the future. And then it could cause all sorts of problems because your business is therefore not portable. So that's another thing to consider. With a franchise, you will also have sales targets. So some people don't like that, particularly because a lot of people doing this business, they're looking for more time, freedom and flexibility, and they want to work on their terms. So you may not want to be put under other people's pressure of reaching those sales targets. I mean, of course, when you're running a business, you're going to be setting your own sales targets anyway, but you're going to want to do that for yourself. But obviously it's very different when those targets are being set by the franchisor, and if you don't reach those targets, then you potentially risk losing your franchise. Now, I don't know the exact details of that, but that's something to consider. Also with a franchise, you know, you have to work under their guidelines, their branding guidelines, their territory guidelines, their marketing guidelines. So you have less freedom and flexibility to run the business in the way that you would want to run it. So that's my quick overview on the benefits and disadvantages of franchising. From my own point of view, all I can say to you is, when I first started this business, you know, I've been doing this for almost 20 years. I started when my children were born, so they're 22 and 18 now, so that shows you how long I've been in this business. And there wasn't anybody doing it, so I was approached actually by a lot of agencies that asked me if I would like to franchise the business, and I actually didn't want to, because I wanted this to be a business that would allow women to start their own creative home businesses from home, without the high startup costs and without all of the pressure and targets and things like that. And the reason for that is because, and I do share it within my Time and Freedom webinar, but basically I was trapped in a job that I hated for years, felt like my soul was dying from the inside. At one point I got fired from my job for being pregnant. It was the most awful time of my life. And I was desperate to find something that I could do that I felt passionate about, that I enjoyed doing, and that would most importantly allow me to work from home around my children. And I share within my Time and Freedom webinar how I actually came up with this idea all those years ago. And I think you'll see from that, if you take the time to watch that webinar, why it's so important to me, and why I'm so passionate about helping women in business, particularly mums in business, because I know how important it is to spend the time with your children, to be there for them, and to also earn a living alongside them. So yeah, I never wanted to franchise the Craft Academy. So what I have put together is a business which hopefully allows you the benefits of a franchise without any of the restrictions. So through my series of training courses, I can provide you with all of the training on how to create the products. You're gonna learn that. You don't need to be artistic, you don't need to be particularly creative. It's more important that you know the correct processes to follow. So I cover that in all of my product training. And as I've said, I've got 20 years experience in this industry. So you've got all of that advantage as well. So you're going to get all of the training on how to make the products. The other thing that you need to consider is obviously the branding and the marketing. So that's one of the benefits of having a franchise, is because you're working under that brand. So you're not going to have to create your own website. You're not going to have to create your own branding. But you're really working under somebody else's brand, and you've got all of those restrictions that I said about territory restrictions, and if you want to move, and you can't go out of your postcode area, and all of those types of things. So that wouldn't enable you to sell the products online, for instance, I believe, but obviously I can't comment for the particular franchise that you're looking at. So again, what I've put together is the done for you business and marketing package. So if you want help with your business, your business branding and your marketing, then that's another service that I can offer. And we've got a done for you branding and website package, which is about £650, which I can link to at the end of this Q&A. So we can do all of that for you as well. It depends on what your investment is. So what I would say to you is, look at what the cost of buying this franchise is and what you're going to get for it. Look at all the small print and exactly what you're tied into, what your sales management fees are going to be, your sales royalties. Are you going to have to pay another franchise fee in 5 years' time or whatever? That's very important for you to know. I apologise. I've got my dog coughing up in the background. She might start barking, so if she does, I apologise for that. So in terms of starting with the Craft Academy, the first thing that you need is the training. Now, each of my online courses are £145, but I do have a special offer within the Time and Freedom webinar to actually get all 7 of my Keepsake Jewellery courses at a vastly reduced course. That's the online courses, and all 7 of my live casting courses at a vastly reduced price if you buy them as a bundle. But yeah, if you buy them individually, they're £145, or you can take advantage of the huge discount that's in the webinar. You're also going to need your Fingerprint Jewellery starter kit and your kiln. So Fingerprint Jewellery starter kit at the moment is about £360. The artwork jewellery kit's almost £230, and the kiln's almost £360. So you're looking at spending about £950 on your two kits and the kiln that you will need. So that's not a huge investment in the tools and equipment that you're going to need. And you can get a very, very quick return on investment. Now, I do urge you to watch the Time and Freedom webinar that I've linked to the top of this page, because I go into a lot of detail about what the recommended retail prices are of the various products, and therefore how many products you would need to sell to reach your desired income. And also I go through kind of profit margins and all of that stuff in a lot of detail. Now, it's not something I can go into here. I can't retain, if you watch the Time and Freedom webinar, you'll also know I had a brain hemorrhage a few years ago. I literally can't retain numbers in my head. I can't retain that kind of information, but I do go into a lot of detail on it in the webinar, and you'll see that I have like a little spreadsheet where I talk about all of that, and you can see for yourself what the recommended retail prices of the products, what the profit margins are of the products, and how to create a sales forecast so that you can achieve your desired income. And I've also got a separate training as well on how to create your business plans and sales forecasts, which is something else, which again I can link to. But basically, from my point of view, you can get set up just as quickly on your own, and also it allows you to get set up kind of more cost effectively as well, without the limitations of a franchise, with the restrictions that I've talked about. When you're promoting your business, branding and marketing is really important. People do buy brands, so that is the benefit of a franchise. But what I would say is you are just as capable of creating a beautiful brand yourself. Again, we can do that for you, or I do have some free training on how to create your own branding strategy as well. And I will be also doing some courses on how to create your own website, because again, it's so easy these days, because there's all of these template websites like Wix and WordPress and Squarespace that you can use to create your website. So personally, I don't think you need to invest in a franchise. As I said, Amy, I don't know what the cost of the franchise is, but from my point of view, for a franchise, there's always a higher startup cost, a slower return on investment. You're tied into paying sales royalties and management fees. You may have to repay the franchise fee in 5 years' time, 10 years' time, or something like that. And you are limited to certain postcode restrictions as well. So those are the considerations that I would think about. And I would really urge you to go back and watch that Time and Freedom webinar if you haven't registered for it already, because as I said, I go into all of this in so much detail, so I think you'll be able to see exactly what the earning potentials are for the products that you're interested in. And there is, as I said, there's like a special offer at the end as well. So I hope that answers your questions. I'm just quickly looking at the email to see if there's anything else. Okay, you're talking about studio courses as well. I need to let you know, everybody within this group as well, that at the moment I'm not going to be offering any studio courses. For those of you that have watched my webinar or who have been following me, I had a brain hemorrhage a few years ago. So I'm literally only returning to work, and I'm not going to be doing any studio courses myself, because I want to kind of focus on the strategy of the business, moving it forward, and also supporting my existing customers much, much more. And unfortunately, my accredited trainer has recently been diagnosed with breast cancer. So basically I don't want to appoint another accredited trainer because I want to wait and see how Natasha is. So there will be no studio courses for the moment, which is why I've put together this amazing special offer of the bundle of courses, which I've had amazing feedback on. So I hope that answers your question. As I said, please watch the Time and Freedom webinar, because I think that's going to really answer a lot of the questions that you put in about how quickly you can get your return on investment. But if you've got any other questions at all, please just let me know. I will probably do another video like this, because I think it helps everybody else to get this, get their questions answered as well. So I hope that's been helpful, and I will speak to you very soon.